Just a second. I cannot. Am I audible to everyone, ma'am?
I can hear you, Lavina ma'am.
Okay. As everybody knows, Taxila Business School is an institute which has been ranked top amongst the top 10 business schools in India and is also known for its excellent placement record. The institute is actually striving hard in these times to keep the students engaged. And let me tell you, the initiative which has been taken by the institute in the form of mini MBA program series in different domains is a step forward in the same direction. Today we have again mini MBA in HR, and it will be taken by Dr. Harvinder Soni. She is HR faculty at Taxila. She's done PhD, and her major specialization area is HR. She has also done her MBA, again with HR specialization, MCOM in Business Administration, and SHRM, Senior Certified Professional course. She's also founder director and head training and skill development, SkillWiz Corporation Solutions, HR Skills. She is a renowned trainer and management expert. She's a certified trainer in transactional analysis. She has a rich experience and expertise in the area of human resource management, training and development, and emotional intelligence. Ma'am has experience of more than 23 years and has conducted a number of management development programs and workshops for the managers, for the faculty members in order to develop their professional skills. She has also authored 2 books on performance management and staff turnover intentions. And her number of papers have been published in national and international journals. Until now, almost 5 research scholars have been awarded PhD under her supervision. So it would be a great experience to have ma'am with us and to conduct this mini MBA in HR. So may I request Professor Soni to please take over?
Thank you, Lavina ma'am. And beginning with the mini MBA in Human Resource Management, I welcome all the participants to this online course, which is conducted by Taxila Business School. And talking about human resource management. Now, let's first understand that why do we need this human resource management? Now, human resource management has become the most challenging field in the contemporary situation because the effective utilization of all other resources depends upon the effective utilization of HR by the management of the organization and by the senior leadership of the organization. Now, an organization may be rich in financial resources, it may be rich in infrastructure, it may have a very good technology, but if it does not have the right people, then the organization cannot sustain in the market and cannot enhance its profitability and market share. Why? Because the performance in the market, the profitability, the organizational performance, all depends upon employee performance. And if the organization does not concentrate on human resource management, it does not have the right kind of people, and those people are not high performers, they are not adequately motivated, they are not adequately trained. In that case, the other resources are of no use for the organization. So that is why it has become very important to understand that human resource management has become very essential if we really want to sustain the competitive edge in the market, if we want to enhance our market share, if we want to enhance our profitability, then we need to focus upon human resource management. Now, if we talk about human resources, so what actually are human resources and why they are called resources? When we talk of human resources, they are actually the skill set, the creative abilities, the talents, the aptitudes, the beliefs, the values of the people working in the organization. So since they are a combination of the creative abilities, the skill set, together with their attitudes, their own behavior, their aptitudes, that is why they are called resources. And a combination of all these results in organizational performance. So when we talk of human resources, now today we also call them human capital. Now we have gone a bit further and we call our resources as human capital. Why? Because it is considered that the investment in human resources should not be considered as an expenditure. Rather, it should be considered as an investment because it is going to give us returns. So that is why. Is my PPT visible? Hello?
No, PPT is not visible.
Just a minute.
Yes.
I can't see the share screen option here. Bhavani sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't see the share screen option here.
Ma'am, check it in the bottom now.
Pardon?
Check share screen option on your screen at the bottom.
Ma'am, it is at the bottom. It is at the bottom.
Oh, I had shared. I think there was some issue. Now can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's
Now it's okay.
for all.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you can
Okay.
keep it on full screen.
Yeah, I'm putting it on full screen. Now, is it fine?
No, it is not on full screen, ma'am.
From my side, it is on full screen. Your screen sharing is paused. Now?
Yes,
Hello?
ma'am, we can go ahead. Ma'am, we can go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Can you see it on full screen?
No, it is not on full screen, but it's okay, ma'am. Can you make it on slideshow?
Yeah, I've done it on the slideshow only.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Now it is not visible, ma'am.
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Soni, ma'am?
Now
Yes,
can you see it?
It is done. It
Yes,
is
ma'am.
done, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now can you see it?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay, fine. So yes, we were talking about human resources. So we were discussing that now human resources are called human capital because we need to invest in the human resources if we really want good returns from them. Now, when we talk of capital, as far as human resources are concerned, there can be three aspects. Human resources can be considered as intellectual capital also. They can be considered as social capital also, and they can be considered as emotional capital also. Now, talking about intellectual capital, as I said, it depends upon the skills, knowledge, and abilities. So all this is the intellectual capital of the organization, and that is why we are calling it human capital. The skills, the creative abilities, the knowledge which is possessed by the human resources, all that is the intellectual capital of the organization. And then when we talk of social capital, so it is not merely the knowledge, skills of the employees, but it also relates to their networking abilities, how they deal with people, their contacts, their interpersonal skills, and that is why it is known as social capital. Now, companies like Hindustan, Unilever, Telco, they have historically built up a lot of their social capital by building good relationships, not only with their internal customers, but also with their external customers. So the internal customers, of course, are the employees of the organization, the human resources of the organization. So through a number of HR practices like rewards, recognition, job rotation, job enrichment, job enlargement, these companies have built up good relationship with their employees. With the external customers and with the clients, with the suppliers, with the other parties, again, they have built up good social capital. So we need to understand that when we talk of human capital, as I said, one is intellectual capital, another is social capital, and another one is emotional capital. Because as human beings, we also have emotions. So that is why human resources, they have their own level of confidence, they have passion, how much resilience they are able to build up. That means how much bounce back ability which they have to come back from the crisis situation, how much emotional intelligence they have in dealing with people, in building networks, in managing their emotions, in understanding the emotions of others. All that has an impact upon their performance. So that is why it is known as emotional capital. So it is very important that we have proper HR practices in our organization, because if we really want to leverage these three types of capital for organizational benefit, and in the same course also develop the employees, train them, engage the employees towards their work, it becomes important that we really understand that how do we manage the human resources. Now talking about what actually is human resource management. So human resource management, it is the policies, practices, and systems that influence employees' behavior, attitudes, and performance. So it is the complete system, the policies, the practices, and the systems which have an impact upon the performance of the employees, the behavior of the employees, and attitude of the employees. So now, for example, companies like Google, companies like Apple, now they are the leaders in the market in their respective domains. Why? One very big reason is their people management practices. Now they focus on innovation. Now, since they focus on innovation, their talent management policies are based upon hiring candidates who have a lot of creative abilities and they believe in innovation and who have those kind of capacity to pull in innovative ideas to the organization. So because of this kind of hiring policy, they have such people who are able to contribute to the innovation in the organization. And it is because of the people management practices in Google and Apple. That's why what they are, the market leaders, the corporate excellence, what they have achieved, it is because of the HRM practices that these companies are market leaders in their own respective domains. So that is why it depends upon the practices and policies, because that has an impact upon the performance of the employees and finally the organizational performance. Now, since we are all facing this COVID-19 and lockdown and all those things, so we need to understand that organizations, they need to be also flexible with their HR policies and practices according to the changes in the environment, according to the changes in the demands of the market, according to the changes in the technology. So, for example, now in the present times, now we can see that companies have introduced work from home. We all know about it, right? So we can see that as per Gallup survey 2020, the full-time employees who were working in US, I'm talking about, they were 33% initially, but in the 2020 survey, it has increased to 61%. That means the number of employees who are working from home has increased to a great extent because of COVID-19. Now, this is not possible unless and until the company changes its HR policies. Naturally, the company has allowed work from home, and that is why this percentage has increased. Similarly, the parents, full-time working parents who have children to look after at home, but now they cannot send them to schools because their schools have closed down due to COVID-19. That has increased from 44% to 100%. So you can see now, again, this has been possible due to the change in the HR policies and practices of the company in the wake of COVID-19. So what I mean to say that organizations, they need to respond to the changes in the environment. They need to respond to the changes in the circumstances, to the market demands, to the conditions, to the technology, and a number of things. So, I mean, it's not that once you frame the policies, they can be rigid. At times, you have to be very adaptable according to the situation. Now, talking of concept of human resource management, it involves all the management decisions and practices that directly affect the people who work for the organization. So naturally, when we are talking of HRM, we are focusing upon all the decisions that influence or affect the people who are working in the organization. So it may relate to the acquisition. It may relate acquisition of human resources. It may relate to the training of human resources. It may relate to the motivation. It may relate to other things like maintenance, integration, performance management issues. So all those things need to be considered when we are focusing upon human resource management of the organization. And it relates basically to the acquiring, developing, motivating, integrating, and maintaining the human resources in the organization. Now, significance of human resources, if we talk about, so we discussed earlier also that why human resources are so important, why they are called the human capital of the organization. At the same time, we need to understand that it is like how we treat people in the organization that has a great impact upon their performance, and how we manage our human resources that has a direct impact upon organizational performance. So according to Akio Morito, who is the founder of Soni Corporation Limited, now he says that there is no great magic in the success of Japanese companies, and particularly Soni. Now, the only secret is, the secret behind the success of Japanese companies and Soni is the way they treat their employees. So that is a big statement from him, coming from the founder of Soni. Now, he says that there's no, I mean, great magic, the way the Japanese companies are working, we all know. And the only secret behind the success of Soni and the other Japanese companies is the kind of treatment which they are giving to their employees. So here becomes, it is important that we properly understand that how do we manage the human resources and how do we actually lay down policies and practices for them. And also, let me add that out of the 5 M's of management, that is men, money, material, machinery, methods, men comes first always, men. And in fact, the other 4 resources, the proper utilization of the other 4 resources depends upon how we manage our human resources, what kind of people we are having in our organization. So that is why it is very important that human resource management is done in an appropriate manner. Now, when we talk about the functions of human resource management, now talking about the functions of human resource management, there are, managerial functions, which we all know, the basic functions of management, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Now, when we talk of the managerial functions here, let us understand that we are talking about the managerial functions from the HR perspective over here. Although the functions are the same, which when we talk about the functions of management, the functions are the same, but here we are talking about these functions from the HR perspective. And these managerial functions, they have a direct impact upon the operative functions of human resource management. So Now, when we talk about planning, so naturally, as far as HRM is concerned, it cannot be successful without planning. That means we need to lay down the goals and objectives, what we want to achieve through our human resource policies and practices. The forecasting part, the forecasting of the human resources, what is the number of human resources which we are going to require in the organization, and what is the availability in the market. Proper estimation of these things need to be done, where the organization wants to see itself in the time to come. Maybe if we are talking of the long term, then it may be 5 years. If we are talking of short term, it may be 1 year. So what is the vision of the organization? What is the mission of the organization? And the human resource part has to be planned accordingly. The forecasting of the human resources has to be done. The estimation of the number of people which we require in the organization, the skill set of the people which we are looking for, all that needs to be planned and predicted and estimated, and proper policies need to be made in this regard. Then talking about organizing. So when we talk of organizing, naturally, as far as HR is concerned, we talk of creating the various, roles and responsibilities in the organization. The organization will consist of number of departments, what kind of organization structure we are having. For example, the marketing department is there, the production department is there, the HR department is there, the IT department is there, the finance department is there. So how many employees are required in each and every department? What will be the hierarchy in the organization? What will be the roles and responsibilities of these employees? All that has to be done with clarity, because unless and until this is done, we cannot proceed with the work. So organizing becomes very important as far as the functions of human resource management are concerned. Then staffing. So naturally, we have to do the recruitment part, the selection part, and we have to place the employees. We have to attract the right kind of candidates to the organization. We have to hold the selection interviews of the organization, and we have to staff our organizations, and then go for induction and orientation of the employees. So staffing is also very important. Then direction. Now, merely recruiting, selecting, staffing, that is not sufficient. We need to give them the right kind of direction in the organization. That means the kind of supervision which we are able to give, the kind of performance goals which we set for them, performance appraisal, performance management, laying down targets for them, and not only laying down targets, but giving them the right kind of leadership, giving them the right kind of motivation. That becomes very important. So this is what we mean by direction as far as HR function is concerned. Then, of course, controlling. That means we need to check out how much we are achieving, how much, whatever goals we had laid down at the beginning of the year or any other time period which we have taken, whether they have been achieved or not. Goals not only in terms of employee performance, but also in terms of whatever plans and policies which we had laid down in the planning part, whether those plans and policies have been executed and implemented successfully or not, and whether they have attained the desired goals or not, because it's not necessary that whatever we have planned, we have been able to execute successfully. There may be some gaps, some parts may have been executed, somewhere there may be some loopholes, so what improvements are necessary. All that can be understood only when we go in for proper controlling. Now, all these functions, managerial functions, have an impact upon the operative functions. So when we talk about the operative functions of human resource management, then it includes procurement of the employees. That means hiring, that includes recruitment, selection, placement, induction, orientation of the employees. Then when we talk of development, it also relates to how much we are trying to enhance their skills, improve their skills, give them training, and how much we are able to manage their performance. So presently, we are shifting the focus from performance appraisal to performance management, where we talk about not only measuring the performance of the employee, but giving them the right kind of training and bridging the skill gap in the process rather than just measuring and telling them that these are the areas where they have not achieved. We try to give them the right kind of coaching, the right kind of mentoring, the right kind of training in order to develop them. So of course, we're going to talk more about the details of this in tomorrow's session when we discuss performance appraisal and performance management. Then compensation management. So compensation relates to the salaries, the wages which are paid to the employees. So again, this is very important, a function of human resource management, because we cannot just fix compensation without considering a number of factors. We need to do job evaluation. That means we need to find out the relative worth of the job of a particular job as compared to other jobs in the company. Now, each employee draws a different salary. So on what basis this is given? Naturally, there has to be some logic behind it. There has to be some proper system behind it. So that system is developed through job evaluation. Also, we need to consider the experience, the skills, the qualifications of the candidates, and also we need to consider that what are the market rates, what are the people in the market working at the similar positions drawing, so that we are able to have competitive salaries and we are able to attract talented people to the organization. Then maintenance is very important. That means we need to look after the employees. Here one of the functions is employee welfare. Then the health, safety, hygiene of employees, that becomes very important. And the employee benefits part, what kind of benefits schemes we would like to have for employees, so that, and the quality of work life of the employees. So how can we balance the quality of work life? So all these need to be continuously monitored and administered in the organization, because see, recruitment selection is just one part, but retaining the employees is a very big challenge. So for retaining our star employees, our high performers, we need to focus upon the other functions as well. Otherwise, if people come and go from our organization, then not only the entire recruitment selection process has to be repeated again, but the organization may also suffer because of loss of talented employees. Then, of course, motivation of the employees is very important function of human resource management, because when we talk of motivation, we need to give some incentives to the employees. We need to acknowledge their work. We need to give them recognition for their work. It may be monetary, it may be non-monetary. Every organization has its own policies. These days we also have, like, people get fixed salary, but together with that, they also get a part of their salary as performance-based pay, which is totally based upon their performance. So not only provides challenge to the employees, but also keeps them motivated to perform in the organization. And at the same time, like small things, like a simple appreciation by the boss, a letter of appreciation, employee of the year, these are also forms of motivation of the employee. So it may take any form depending upon the resources of the organization, depending upon the policies of the organization, but the crux is that we need to keep our employees motivated. Then integration. So integration, here it relates more to the collective bargaining, the industrial relations, the trade unions, the grievance handling of because HR needs to look after these issues as well. If the employee has any grievance in the organization, then the organization, grievance means any problem, any complaint which the employee may have, then the organization also needs to put in place its grievance handling procedure. Whom should the employee approach if he has some problem in the organization? So there should be proper grievance handling procedure. Then the collective bargaining, the industrial relations, all that again is an important part of human resource management. So, and besides all these functions in today's world, the HR is also playing an important part as an advisory to the top management. We are talking of HRBP, that is the human resource business partner. So HR is also a business partner in today's world with the changing times. The importance is growing day by day. So of course, we'll talk about this later in the session. So here we can see the HR manager performs a number of responsibilities. He has a number of areas to look upon. So of course, it may vary from organization to organization, but this gives a broad view of like generally what an HR manager is expected to do, what all he handles. So he's a personnel manager. That means he looks after human resource planning. He looks after recruitment and selection. He looks after job analysis and design, the compensation, the orientation and placement. Orientation means when new employees join the organization, then they need to be inducted into the organization. They need to be made aware of the culture of the organization, the work processes and systems of the organization. And that is the only way where we can make proper use of their talents and abilities and make them aware of the processes of the organization, so that they not only they feel comfortable, but they also become aware of the style in which they have to work, what are the expectations of the organization from them. So that is included in orientation and induction. So he has to be a personnel manager. Then he has to be an IR manager. So recently, if the health and safety concerns are, important, and especially with the COVID-19, the hygiene, health and safety has become very important, and the HR policies and practices are going a lot of changes, because now the organizations need to have, proper social distancing norms in the organization, ensure the workplace or the office place or the where the workers are working, they are maintaining social distancing. Secondly, they are wearing proper masks. Then there's proper sanitization of the workplace. There's separate provision for spittoons in the organization. So then the standard operating procedures are followed. Sanitizers are kept. These are what? These relate to these are related to the maintenance of the health and hygiene of the employees. So safety and health concerns have become very important, especially in today's, kind of crisis situation which the entire world is facing. So all this requires more awareness on the part of the human resource manager, that how he needs to handle this part to ensure the safety of his employees. And then looking at this aspect of the HRD manager, he is also responsible for training and development of the employees. Because if we do not continuously train the employees, naturally, what is going to happen? We are going to become obsolete. And if we become obsolete, in that case, the performance is going to be low, and the organization may not like to have such employees who are low performers, who are not ready to improve, who are not ready to learn. So again, continuously organizing training and development program for the employees, for their skill enhancement, for the knowledge enhancement, that becomes a must. So he should have proper knowledge of training and development. Then even counseling of the employees. An employee may be facing some personal issue, or he may be alcoholic, which has an impact, or he may be a victim to drug abuse, which has an impact upon his performance, or he may be having some personal problem, which again impacts his performance in the organization. In that case, the HRD manager also needs to be good at counseling the employee. So, and the appraisal part, that means, appraisal means, some people think that appraisal means appreciation of the employee. Appraisal, let me tell you, does not mean appreciation of the employee. It means evaluation of the performance of the employee, to find out that whatever goals, objectives and targets were fixed for him at the beginning of the year, to what extent they have been achieved. Based upon the achievement of the targets, the employee may be appreciated, or if he has not attained those targets, in that case, provision may be made for training and development in areas where there's a skill gap. If the employee has excelled, then promotion may be given to him, increment may be given to him. So that all comes under performance appraisal. There's another term, potential appraisal. Now, potential appraisal relates to how the employee, is whether the employee is capable of handling future higher responsibilities or not. When the organizations promote their employees, what is the basis for promotion? if they promote the employee without checking the potential of the employee or the suitability of the employee for a higher level position, then it's just going to be, the employee will become a liability for the organization, and no organization would like to have liability. Every organization wants to have human resources, assets. So for that, the organization needs to assess the potential of the employee according to the future needs of the organization, according to the requirements of a higher level position which the organization wants to promote the employee. So, of course, that is again a part of the functions and the duties of the HR manager. Then, of course, as we said, the maintenance part has to be there. The facilities, like maybe the provision of canteen facilities may be there, medical facilities may be there, transportation facilities may be there. So the HR for the employees, public relations, then legal advice on HR issues, all these again have to be handled by the HR manager. Now let me tell you that this is a broad overview of the functions of the HR manager, and what we need to understand that the profile of the HR manager may vary from organization to organization depending upon the needs of the organization and the requirements of the organization. Now, besides that, there are certain new roles of the HR executives. Now, in today's world, he's also like the service provider who needs to provide information about what is the present position of the manpower in the market, what is the supply, what kind of manpower availability is there in the market as far as specific roles are concerned, as far as specific job profiles are concerned, what is the availability of human resources in the market. Then he's the executive also, because he has to look after the recruitment, selection, compensation, etc. Then he's the facilitator also, because he facilitates the employees in case they face any issues, in case they have any grievances, in case they have any conflict, because conflict management is again a part of HRM. How do we handle conflicts in the organization? Then he also makes provision for training the employees. He makes provision for managing the performance of the employees. So he acts as a facilitator also. Then he acts as a consultant also, because the line managers, they require consultation on a number of employee related issues. For example, a marketing manager may face a problem with the salesman that he is not performing well, or he is not maintaining a proper attitude, or there's a problem of absenteeism, he's not very regular with the work, or he's not punctual, or there may be any other issue. In that case, the HR department will give consultancy to the marketing department about how to deal with such an employee and how to handle the problems of the employees in the respective departments. So he is not merely like the HR manager is not merely responsible for the employees within the HR department. He's responsible for the employees working in each and every department of the organization, whether it is the production department, whether it is the marketing department, whether it is the IT department or the finance department. So that is why it is said that not only HR is important for the HR people, it is important for each and every manager in the organization. Even a manager who has to deal with the employees working in the marketing department needs to have HR skills. Otherwise, he won't know how to get things done from the salespeople working under him. Same applies in the production department. If the production department manager does not have HR skills, he may not be able to get things done from the production workers. So that is why it is said that in today's world, irrespective of the department, everybody needs to possess the HR skills, and every manager who is handling the employees has to be an HR manager. because we say that management is the art of getting things done through others. Not that getting things done through others is such a big challenge, that because people have different perceptions, they have different personalities, they have different behaviors. So all that needs to be focused upon by each and every manager in the organization. Then of course, he has to be the IT manager also in today's world, because in today's world, we have the human resource information system, proper data is collected, with the help of information technology, the various softwares are there. So HR manager should also be aware of the IT part, how to make use of human resource information system for the betterment of the HRM practices and systems in the organization. So that is as far as the IT manager is concerned. Then if we have he also has to play the role of the auditor. Now, generally the term auditor is used in finance, but HR audit is also important. That means we know HR audit, it means that we need to keep a check upon the systems, the policies and practices, whether they are going in the right direction, whatever objectives have been laid down, whether they have been achieved or not, the employee records, the training and development parts, the performance related records, everything needs to be in place. And so the HR manager also functions as the auditor. Then, as we said, in today's world, he's also a business strategist. So he's a business strategist, and in that case, he has to contribute. He has to contribute towards building up of the strategy of the organization. He is a business partner, and he is also a person who contributes and advises the top management in framing of proper HR strategies in the wake of the changes in the business environment. And he aligns the HR strategies together with the organizational strategies. So he plays the role of a business strategist as well. He's a change manager. So now change. Now this is a very simple word, but very, very difficult to implement. And change management is another challenging field in human resource management. And in HR, in fact, it's a separate subject, which is called leadership skills and change management. Then we have OD interventions, how to bring about changes in the organization. Because generally the employees, the first, response of the employees, if any new system is introduced in the organization, the first response is resistance. Employees do not want to accept changes. So the change management has to be handled very tactfully, delicately, and also it requires a lot of management skills to bring about successful change in the organization. So the HR manager also functions as a change manager. So these are some of the new roles in the organization which need to be adopted, which need to be taken care of, besides the normal functions of recruitment, selection, and other things. Now, in today's world, we talk of strategic human resource management, or HR, as a strategic business partner. So now in that case, how the HR strategy should fit with the organizational strategy, we can just have a look at this particular figure. We see that the corporate strategy is, of course, designed at the topmost level. The organizational strategy is laid in terms of the environmental conditions after proper scanning of the environment and considering a number of factors, which of course I'm not going to discuss right now. But corporate strategy needs to be designed very carefully. Based upon that, the business strategy is laid down, and linked to all that should be the HR strategy. That means you cannot just lay down the HR strategy in isolation without linking it or without aligning it with the corporate strategy or the business strategy, because otherwise it's going to be a failure. Because after all, this strategy will be successful only when the human resources or the employees who are actually going to perform or help in the achievement of these strategies are given a proper direction, are given proper development, are first, and basically they are first of all hired appropriately. The right people are there in the organization. Their performance is recognized, their work is recognized. Then only we can achieve the business strategy, and then only the corporate strategy can be achieved. In other words, the HR strategy has to be linked with the business strategy or the corporate strategy. Otherwise, it will just be a formality and it's not going to be of any help to the organization. So the HR strategy, according to the HR strategy, the HR systems will be designed, which may relate to training, rewards, and other HR areas, which are going to enhance the performance. Because as we said, why we are talking about HRM after all? Why we say that it is important to manage the human resources? So let us understand that it is proper human resource management which is going to result into organizational performance. Otherwise, the organization will never be able to accomplish its goals or objectives, and the vision and the mission or the strategies are going to be a big failure in the organization. So that is why the HR strategy needs to be linked with the corporate strategy, with the business strategy, and that means two kinds of things are there. One is the vertical fit, which the HR system should look for, and another is the horizontal fit. So vertical fit relates to linkage of or alignment of HR strategy with the business strategy and the corporate strategy, and the horizontal fit relates to having the right HR systems in place related to training, rewards, performance management in the organization for the attainment of corporate strategy. So HR plays a very important role in accomplishment of organizational goals. And that is why in today's world, we talk of strategic human resource management. Not considering the organizational strategy and then, fixing and laying down HR policies in isolation is not going to be of any use in the present world. It has to be linked with the organizational strategy. Now we also see that the strategic decisions have their implications on human resource management. Now, whatever decisions are taken at the top level, all have their impact upon human resource management. Now, for example, if the strategic decision is to add new kind of equipment to the organization, what will be the implications of HR management? Train, because the employees may not know how to use this equipment. So what the HR has to do? Immediately organize training programs so that the employees are technically enabled and equipped to make use of this equipment. So the HR implication for this strategic decision would be training. Now, for example, the strategic decision is grow through acquisition. So acquisitions and mergers do take place in the organization, but it has an impact upon the human resource management practices in the organization. What part of HRM may be affected? The selection of employees from the acquired firm. Training may be necessitated. What will be the now new package? What will be the new compensation? Because it will have to be reformed. If the firm has acquired another firm, then the old system may not work and you have to put in place a new system of compensation, which I said means what? The salaries and the bonus and the other incentives which are paid to the employees. Some of the workers may lose their jobs because when one firm has acquired another firm, then the employees may become redundant, or they may not, some of them may not be required. So in that case, outplacement, giving them opportunities outside the organization or preparing them to have an optional job in some other organization, what kind of outplacement can be given to them? That is also an implication for HR. Now, for example, the organization decides to market the products internationally. Now, this is a strategic decision. One may feel that this is simply, a decision which impacts the top management and it is more of a marketing kind of thing, but it has an implication of for the HR manager, for the HR management, because if the products have to be marketed internationally, then we may not have the suitable employees to market the products in that international market. we may have to redesign the selection system, or if we do not want to have new employees, we may have to retrain, upskill the already existing employees. And also we may have to look for a change in the compensation system, because if the employee is working internationally, then the compensation or whatever pay and salaries given to him needs to be modified accordingly. So all this, what we are trying to say is that whatever strategic decisions are taken, they cannot be taken in isolation, because everything has an impact upon human resource management. And if these things are not taken care of, then these strategic decisions will be disastrous for the organization. They're not going to result into any positive outcome for the organization, because the organization has not paid attention to these HR aspects. So we need to understand that the organizations have to work in alignment. The HR systems need to be in proper place, and the HR management of the human resource management has to be appropriately reformed in accordance with the strategic decisions. Otherwise, the strategic decisions are going to be big failures for the organization. Now, this is like the Dave Ulrich model of HR roles. Now, we discussed that HR plays various roles. So Dave Ulrich has given one of the models for the various HR roles. Now, having a look at this model, we can say that the HR plays 4 roles overall. If we have a look at this model, one is the role of a strategic partner. Another is that of administrative expert, then a change agent, and then the employee champion. So here, when we consider strategic partner and change agent, this is more of a strategic focus of the role of HR. And as far as the administrative expert is concerned, this is having an employee champion. This is having more day-to-day operational focus. And then this is more concerned with the processes, and this is more concerned with the people. Now, out of these 4 roles, strategic partner role is very, very important, because I said earlier also that now HR has become a business partner. So when we look at HR as a business partner, then the HR representatives, the directors, they sit with the board of directors of the organization and participate in laying down the organizational strategy, the overall organizational strategy, and also give the necessary suggestions for framing the corporate strategies of the organization. Now, the HR is expected to have full knowledge of the business, what business the organization is in, what kind of customers they are dealing with, what is the market share of the company, what are the expectations of the shareholders from the company, what kind of products the company or the services in which the company is dealing. So the HR is expected to have a knowledge of all these roles when he is or she is contributing in the organization as a strategic partner. So when the HR is focusing upon this role, then maybe the routine work will be delegated to the lower level people, and the HR person or the HR business partner will concentrate more on this higher level responsibility. Then, of course, HR, we have already talked about that he needs to function as an administrative expert and see that all the practices in the HR practices are working and being executed properly. And he's a change agent also, as I said earlier also, that bring about changes in the organization is not an easy task. It requires the transformation of the organization culture. And if the culture has to be transformed, as I said, that if the change is brought about in a very hasty manner, in a very haphazard manner, it can lead to disaster in the organization. The employees may leave the organization, the goals may not be attained, and the organization will lose its marketplace. So how change needs to be handled, that is another big challenge for the HR manager. Then he also works as the employee champion. So that means he's also an advocate of the employees. If there are some concerns about the employees, if there are some grievances, if there are some issues, he needs to take them up and resolve the problems of the employees. So these are the, according to this model, these are the 4 roles which the HR manager needs to handle. And out of these roles, in the present contemporary times, the role of HR as a strategic partner, the importance of this role has increased manyfold. Now, if HR has to operate as a strategic partner, in that case, what we need to have, proper strategic architecture of the HR system. That means as the function, the system, the employee behavior, all need to be aligned, all need to be in proper place. So the HR professionals should have strategic competencies, first of all. Secondly, the system should be strategically aligned. All the systems should be aligned to or they should be focused towards attaining organizational goals, and they should be focused upon attaining high performance. Then the employee behavior, very important, because nothing can be achieved unless and until the behavior of the employees, the focus of the employees, the capability of the employees, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings of the employees, unless and until they have that passion, they have the right kind of mindset, they have the right kind of mental status whereby they want to actually contribute towards organizational goals. Some people have the ability, but they don't have the willingness. So unless and until that willingness is there, the capability may not be of any use. So the behavior of the employees also needs to be strategically focused. So the HR strategic architecture needs to be in proper place. So this is the HR strategy map. So I'll just explain this in short. Actually, this is based upon the balanced scorecard, which has 4 perspectives. The balanced scorecard, it is a strategic measurement system through which the attainment of organizational goals is determined. So from the financial perspective, like how HR is going to enhance the shareholder value. This can, how ROI of strategic, that is return on investment of HR in strategic initiatives can be enhanced, how the employee productivity can be enhanced. Then the internal customers, the employees are the internal customers. So the customer perspective, which is the second part of the balanced scorecard. Here from HR perspective, it becomes the internal customer. So now create positive environment overall in order to motivate the internal customers and enhance employee satisfaction. And what kind of HR internal processes may be there? The proper recruitment process, then employee competencies, talent management practices, performance management practices, all need to be in proper place. And the learning part, which is the 4th aspect of a balanced scorecard. That means how much the organization has improved, how much new ideas have been implemented. So they have to develop the HR capabilities and deploy proper human resource information system, which has to be in place if the HR has to make a strategic contribution to the organization. So I hope that this can give you an idea that how the HR can focus on being a strategic partner in the organization and contribute towards the business of the organization and justify its role in the organization. Then there is another term, that is HR scorecard. So HR scorecard, now this actually is the measurement of the attainment of the objectives which are laid down for HR. So it lays down that whatever objectives are laid, the HR scorecard aims to measure whether these objectives have been attained or not, and proper criteria for measurement of these objectives are fixed. Now, for example, the strategic objective is implement best talent management practices. So the key performance indicator can be number of qualified talents per strategic positions. How many qualified people you have in the organization in order to attain these strategic objectives. So what is the progress of the talent development plan? Whatever was planned, how much has been achieved? Then percentage of senior managers who have been promoted internally. So like whether we have recruited people at senior positions from outside, or whether we have improved the talent management practices in our own organization and we have gone in for internal promotion. Then optimize performance management system. That means we have to manage the performance of the employees and not simply measure it. For that purpose, we need to have, again, proper indicators. That means we need to assess the competency scores of the employees, whether the competencies which had been expected from them, whether they have improved or they find themselves at the same level. Then the number of performance feedback sessions conducted per year. So as we said, that it's not that you just measure the performance and communicate to the employee that this was fixed. For example, a production worker employee is told that he is expected to produce 100 units, say in a day, and he is able to produce just 70 units. So he's just told that this is a gap of 30 units and you need to look into it. So this is just no proper system whereby you simply communicate the skill gap. You need to manage, you need to have proper performance feedback sessions whereby you need to acquaint the employee and give him suggestions and coach and mentor the employee about how he can really work upon enhancing his performance, rather than simply communicating to him about the performance gap. So see, what we are trying to understand is that we are trying to lay down under the HR scorecard, we lay down the strategic objectives. On the other hand, we also lay down the key performance indicators, and after the end of a particular period, whatever we fix for ourselves, we try to measure whether these measures or these indicators have been achieved or not. So that is the HR scorecard. That means we try to determine whatever we had laid down as our objective, we try to measure it with proper indicators that we have been able to achieve or not. For example, the strategic objective is create a positive environment. Now, how to measure it? How will we come to know that whether we have created a positive environment or not? So, for example, the key performance indicator may be ranking in the best place to work annual survey conducted by Fortune magazine. So if you have acquired a best place to work and the employees have given you as in the survey that this company is the best place to work, that means you have been successful in creating a positive environment. Then percentage of employee turnover. Turnover means the number of employees who leave the organization during a particular time period. If the turnover rate is very high, that means number of people are leaving the organization continuously, then you need to check upon your work environment, that what is the reason for this employee turnover. So again, what is the percentage? If it is a high percentage, that means you have not been able to create a positive work environment and this objective has not been attained. On the other hand, if the employee turnover rate is low, then somewhere or the other, you may feel that yes, the work environment has improved. Then enhance internal customer, that is the employee satisfaction. So employee satisfaction index may be there, employee satisfaction surveys are conducted, and the scores, if there is any improvement in the satisfaction scores of the employees, that means that the organization has been able to raise the employee satisfaction. So what HR scorecard measures, that means rather than just talking subjectively or in a general manner about certain things, it measures the objectives which were laid down in proper, through proper indicators to find out that whether these objectives have been attained or not, rather than giving just vague terms. Yes, we have been able to create a positive work environment, but how do you know? You can measure it through these performance indicators. So, this is like about HR scorecard, that organizations, the HR department can create this kind of HR scorecard, and they can measure the performance or the success of the policies, practices, and the attainment of objectives of the HR department. Now, to become a successful HR professional, what is essential? What is essential to be a successful business HR professional? Now, the HR manager has to be a talent manager and an organization designer. That means it is not about just hiring people or filling posts in the organization. It is hiring the right people in the organization, having the right, that is why it's called talent management. Otherwise, it is simple hiring. That means you are, how much you're able to attract the good talents in the market, how much you're able to retain them. So that is a very important domain which the HR professional needs to work upon. He's a talent manager, and how to not only just having the right people, but also developing them, motivating them, and retaining them in the organization. And for that purpose, he needs to focus upon the policies of the organization, the structure of the organization. So he has to look after the organizational design part as well. Then he has to be a culture and change steward, which I told you earlier also. And then strategy architect. As I said, that today HR needs to be aware about finance also, marketing also, business strategy also. Then only he will be able to frame the right kind of HR strategies, because HR is no longer confined only to HR or human resources. It relates to the business. The success of any business depends upon the performance of its human resources. And the HR manager, if he really wants to be a competent HR professional, needs to have an understanding of the strategy building process, about the business, and he also works as a business ally. He also works as a business partner. As I said, the senior HR people, they are part of the board of directors, and they give their inputs in framing the business strategies, which markets to cater to, how to handle the marketing part of the organization, the financial policies of the organization, and of course the HR part. So he's the operational executor also. He executes the various the practices and policies which have been framed. He's also responsible for execution. I mean, some organizations may have some very good policies on paper, but when it comes to implementation, it is leads to nowhere. So policies should not be only in name, or should not be only documented, or should not be only on papers. They have to be properly executed. So the HR manager also needs to execute the policies and check out if there is any gap in the whatever was targeted or whatever was aimed and what has been actually achieved. Then he is a credible activist. That means he needs to be a person whom others can trust. His credibility is very important. So building up credibility, people should trust you. They should believe in you, and then only you can proceed towards other things. So building up the credibility and actively engaging in the development of the human resources, that is also very essential to be a successful HR professional. So the HR professional, of course, he needs to be aware about recruitment, selection, compensation, and all those technical parts. But in today's world, he needs to be more than that. The function has reached to a higher levels, and there are more expectations from the HR professional. So an HR professional needs to be good at negotiation skills. He needs to be good at conflict management. He needs to possess high emotional intelligence. He needs to be an effective communicator, and he needs to, of course, have the knowledge of the HR technical policies, the systems, the laws, how to handle the performance appraisals, and how to design the training programs. The technical part of HR has to be there. But in today's world, he has to go beyond that particular role. Now coming to human resource planning. So when we talk about human resource planning, now we said that we cannot proceed without planning. Because if we do not undertake human resource planning, we would not be able to understand what is the right number and the right kind of people which we need to have in the organization. So if we are not able to forecast that what is the right number of people we require in the organization and what is the right quality of people, what are the skill sets which we require in our organization, then again the organizational objectives cannot be attained, and we might end up hiring either the wrong people or more people than we require or less people than is required by the organization. That is why it becomes essential to go for human resource planning. So it is considered as a process of forecasting an organization's future demand for, supply of, and the right number of people and the right type of people in the organization. Both is important. Not only the right people, but also the right number and the right type. Because now, if we do not forecast and we do not plan, then either there may be a deficit in the number of people we require. If it is less than what we require, in that case, work cannot be done. And what is going to suffer? The organizational performance is going to suffer. On the other hand, if we do not do human resource planning, we might hire more people than we require, which is a wastage and a cost for the organization, because paying salaries to these people, maintaining these people, and having these kind of people without proper planning in the organization, we need to understand that how we are going to manage. You can see some questions, so I will be answering few of these questions in between. Okay, so now coming to the human resource planning part. When we talk of the human resource planning process, so we are going to have, we are going to start with, in fact, the organizational objectives and policies. Based upon the organizational objectives and policies, we need to forecast. When we forecast, what is the demand for human resources and what is the supply of human resources in the market? We need to create a match between the supply and the demand of human resources. So we need to forecast our demand, and there are proper techniques for forecasting. For example, Walmart, which is a big retail giant. Now it has some techniques for forecasting. For example, it follows the bottom-up approach. It first starts with forecasting the needs of the sales personnel, which is the lowest, in the chain of command or in the hierarchy of the organization, the lowest profile people, that is the sales people in the organization who are handling the retail stores, how many are required. And then it goes to the middle level and it goes to the higher level. So one of the approaches which Walmart is using is the bottom-up approach. Then it also Walmart uses trend analysis. Now, for example, that it tries to historically see that how the business has proceeded in the past years, and according to that, what has been the the flow in which the employees or the human resources have been needed in the organization in the past years. So on the basis of that, it predicts the future, and through that, it also lays down its HR demand and forecasts its HR demand. Now, for example, if an organization outlines that the business has grown by 5% every year in the last 6 years, in that case, when doing trend analysis, it would try to see that it will keep in mind that this is the percentage growth in the business during the past 5 years or the past 6 years. Every year the business is growing by 5%, and accordingly how the employees are being required in the organization, it will now since this has been trend in the last 5 years, for the next year also, according to that trend, the needs for the human resources will be forecasted. So the need forecasting part, then Walmart also uses the Delphi technique. Now, in the Delphi technique, it takes the opinion of the experts who are expert in the field of forecasting human resource requirements. It takes the opinion of the experts and then decides that how much gap is there, what is the requirement of human resources in the organization. Then the HR supply forecast. So the HR supply forecast also has to be done, and for that, Walmart uses the sales performance analysis. It uses the turnover rates, the percentage at which the employees leave the organization, what is the sales performance. It tries to find out whether there is a surplus or there is a shortage of resources. And it also tries to analyze the gap analysis. How much gap is there in the need of the organization, and what is the number of human resources which are actually required, and what is the number which they're actually having. So it also goes for gap analysis. So different organizations may use different methods for forecasting. Then once the forecast has been made, then the HR programming is done. That means proper plans are laid down, action plans are laid down for this meeting the manpower needs of the organization, and also for the people management policies in the organization, and also for maybe the training and development part, performance management part. All the policies and programs are laid down. Then they are executed, and continuously the evaluation of the program is done. And because whatever programming is done, whether it has been properly executed or not, whether the desired results have been attained or not, unless and until continuous control and evaluation is made, the program which may have been executed may not result into the desirable result. So we have to find out the gap also. So continuously the program has to be controlled and monitored. And also we have to check that if there's a surplus of manpower, then the hiring has to be restricted. Companies go for VRS, like Hindustan Zinc Limited. It gives VRS to its employees because when it found that it was having surplus manpower, the organizations may go for layoffs. In the economic recession, number of layoffs were there in the present era of COVID-19. Everybody must have read in the newspapers, and many people have lost their jobs. So because if there is surplus, then the organization needs to have different kind of policies. And if there's a shortage, then it has to go for recruitment and selection. So all this is a part of human resource planning.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes.
Soni,
Yes.
ma'am, we would like to take a 5 to 7 minutes break in between because Kishore sir would like to come and address the students here.
Okay, okay, fine. So just tell me whenever I need to start.
Yeah, we can do it right away, ma'am.
Hardly, I won't take, there are a lot of inquiries of the students on the certificate.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Students, certificate will be uploaded on the website by tomorrow. It's a 2-day session. Day 1 today is going to get over. And tomorrow again, we'll start at 11:30 morning until 1 o'clock. So certificates can be downloaded from the Taxila's website. Website is taxila.in. That's www.taxila.in. You need to go to the event section, and from the event section, you need to click on the mini HR link, right? And from there, you can download the certificates. Probably say something by 4:30 to 5 tomorrow evening, the certificate will be available for the students for the downloading. Fine, Lavina ma'am, okay, you can take it up again.
Okay, okay. Yes, sorry, ma'am, please, you can continue.
Okay,
Right.
okay. Thank you. Okay. Coming to like now we're going to talk about job analysis. Now, once we do the human resource planning, we also need to focus upon job analysis, because unless and until we know that what are the tasks, duties, and responsibilities which are required for the proper execution of a particular job, and what are the skills, qualifications, and experience required for that particular job. We cannot go for recruitment and selection. Just think about it, that an organization is recruiting, selecting people, but it does not, has not analyzed the job. It is not aware of the exact tasks, duties, responsibilities for which they are hiring. Secondly, they have not done any homework regarding the skills, the qualifications, and the experience which they want in their new hires. And it goes for recruitment selection. Then will it be able to hire the right people? I don't think so. So that is why job analysis becomes very important, because it tells us about, so what is simply job analysis? It is an analysis of the tasks, duties, and responsibilities which are required to be performed by a particular person occupying a particular post, and what are the skills, qualifications, and experience which are required at that particular job. So before undertaking recruitment selection, if an organization properly analyzes the job, in that case, the remaining part will become easy. Not only the recruitment selection, but also training and development, performance management, and number of other things need to be properly executed if the organization actually wants that the money which it is spending on recruitment selection and other areas are going to be not a waste, and proper utilization of the human resources is made. So the process of job analysis includes, first of all, organizational analysis. It includes selection of representative positions to be analyzed, because you cannot analyze each and every position. So you have to pick up certain representative positions which need to be analyzed. Then collection of job analysis data. I mean, how do you analyze the job? How do you come to know that these are the tasks, duties, and responsibilities, or these are the skills which are required? You need to collect some data. So of course, there are proper methods for it. Like one method is the observation method. Then another method is the technical conference method. Then there is the critical incident method. So in the technical conference method, you take the opinion of the supervisor or the superior of the employee. And then from his viewpoint, you try to understand that what kind of job responsibilities and duties the employee is expected to accomplish. Or diary method may also be there, where the employee who's working at a particular job himself notes down that what duties and responsibilities he's performing. Then of course there will be other methods like the interview method or the group interview method, which Walmart is following, the interview method, whereby it tries to interview the people who are already working at that position to find out that what are the tasks and the roles and responsibilities which they are following. And also group interview may be there, whereby the team leaders or the supervisors may be interviewed to find out that in their team, the employees who are working, what are their role profiles. So after the collection of job analysis data, you have to prepare job description and job specification. So from job analysis, there are two documents which you prepare. One is job description, which contains the tasks, the duties, and responsibilities which are required for the performance of the job. And another document which is prepared is job specification. That means the skills and the qualifications and experience which are required for that job. Now think that if the organization has clearly prepared job description, it has clearly prepared job specifications, and now it goes for recruitment, selection, training, development, and other things, then how successful it can be. And if it does not prepare, does not analyze the jobs, then it is just groping in the dark and it's not leading anywhere. Maybe it is just wasting its resources and time. So that is why job analysis becomes very important. So as I said, that it is very important whether we go for training and development, whether we go for recruitment selection, whether we go for work redesign, whether we go for career planning, all this becomes, the analysis of the job becomes very, very important for the organization. Now, for example, if we take the example of the job dimensions and job tasks for the university professor, we can see that what all university professor is expected to handle. For example, teaching, research, then he may serve in the departmental committees. He may be performing consultation for external organizations. He may be giving advice, career counseling, etc. Then if these things are clear, what do you expect from a professor? He should be good at teaching. He should be good at research. He should also be able to serve on the various departmental committees. Then if he is going in for consultation, then that is going to enrich not only the professor himself, but also the organization. And also he should be good at counseling their students. So if this is in mind, and together with that, you have in mind the job specifications of a professor. Okay, how many years of experience you require? What are the qualifications you require? You require a postgraduate, you require a PhD, you require a net clear person. What are the additional qualifications? How many research papers he or she should have written? How many papers he or she should have presented international conferences? What kind of consultancy the professor is doing? So if these things are clear in your mind before you go for recruitment selection, you will be able to hire the right person for your organization. And this applies to other posts. Now, these job dimensions, of course, will vary from post to post. So I just end up, and after that, some questions can be taken up. Like a famous quote by Sri Narayan Murthy, our assets walk out of the door each evening. We have to make sure that they come back the next morning. So we are talking of human resource management because human beings are assets. And if the organization is having proper human resource management policies, it will be ensured that when they walk out in the evening, next morning, they come back to the organization. So I end my session over here. Of course, we will continue with a lot of discussions in the tomorrow's session. So Lavina ma'am, if there are any questions, you can just tell me, we can take them up.
Ma'am, there are a few questions coming from the students here. One of the questions which has repeatedly come is they're asking that what would be the impact of COVID-19 when you talk about the new changes and challenges, and how HR field will be impacted by it?
Okay, fine. So, see, as I said earlier also, now COVID-19 has presented a totally different perspective, which nobody had ever dreamt of, that we would be in such a situation. Now it is having an impact upon the organizations, their working systems. So everybody is in a dilemma. And previously, you know, as I said, work from home was followed by very few companies like Dell India, Infosys India, Accenture, Yahoo India, IBM. They were going for work from home. But now more and more companies have executed this work from home. We have been talking about this since a very long time, but very few companies actually implemented it. So one change would be like there will be more people working from home, and companies have already started executing it. Companies like say Dabur, then companies like IHCL, Hindustan Unilever, these have already executed. Many companies are focusing upon how for the safety of the employees also, and also at the same time the work should not suffer. So the one thing is that work from home is going to become more into practice. Another thing is the impact upon jobs. Like we all know that many companies are laying off the employees, and this is going to be now a big challenge, how to maintain your job. So we have to focus upon our skill development, because if we really want to survive in this kind of situation, in that case, we have to focus upon enhancing our capabilities. We have to prove that we are better than the others. And for that, if we take care of our skill development, definitely we will be able to survive. Even if we lose our present job, we will be hired by other organizations based upon our merit, based upon our skills. And because we are better than the others. So one thing which is very important, which students need to focus upon, is enhancement of their capabilities, enhancement of their skills. If they're able to do that, then definitely there are going to be more opportunities for them. Another thing, as I said, the health and hygiene part is being taken care of by the organizations. Now there are new provisions for sanitization, for social distancing at the workplace, and standard operating procedures need to be practiced. So health and hygiene has become a very big concern for HR managers, that how they are going to ensure that work is also done, and at the same time the health and safety of the employees is ensured. And employee wellness, you know, the anxiety, the stress of the employees is increasing. So according to the Gallup survey, in the US working population, the percentage of worry has increased from 37% to 60% as compared to last year in 2020. And the stress has increased from 48% to 65%. Now, employee wellness, happiness management programs, psychological counseling, medical assistance, all these also need. So a number of other things, but the limitation of time, I've given some of the things which need to be taken care of.
Yes, ma'am. And since we are talking about the development of skill set, there is a student who's asking, is there any connection between the communication skills, right, and in the HR professionals development?
It is very important. It is very, very important, because the HR manager communication skills are in fact important for people working at any profile, but they become all the more important for professionals who are working on the HR profile, because firstly, they have to deal with people. HR is more about what? Dealing with people. So convincing people, persuading the people, and also, handling the grievances of the employees, giving them performance feedback. If the employee is not performed well, the way you deliver the feedback, that becomes very important, because the employee will become defensive, or he may become aggressive if he has not performed up to the mark, and you do not know what is the right way of delivering performance feedback to the employee, and you do it without proper communication skills. Communication skills, as we all know, it's a big term. It's not only about speaking, it's about listening also, it's about body language also, it is about the tone of the voice, it's about the pitch of the voice. So the communication skills are the utmost, most important thing for an HR manager. I believe that means if you really want to be successful, there are a number of areas which you need to work upon. Even in communication skills, it's not just a single word, it comprises of a number of things.
Right. It is said there is a myth actually that the scope of HR is less in India. Is it true, ma'am?
Well, this is a myth. And as you are yourself saying that it's a myth, so it is a myth. And the scope of HR, now this is a wrong perception that HR is not having good scope. Very big companies, we'll talk about the careers in HRM in tomorrow's session, whereby I've put it up. That is why to clear this myth. So it is one of the agendas which I'm going to take up in tomorrow's session, that what are going to be the careers in HR, what are the profiles at which HR people work. And also, as I said, that now HR has come up to the point of being a strategic business partner. So it is not confined to the traditional role of only recruitment, selection, payroll, or preparing the salaries and things like that. The number of roles which the HR is playing, and we will focus more upon this in tomorrow's session, whereby I'll take up this careers in human resource management.
Okay. People also have a confusion here, ma'am. They're saying that what is the difference between people management and human resource management?
Okay, so human resource management and people management, see, it is just a matter of using different terms for the same thing. It is people management. In human resource, we are focusing upon human beings as resources, as assets for the organization. And that is why technically we use the term human resource management. People management also relates to managing the people who are working for you in your organization. So as such, there's not any big difference between people management and human resource management, but human resource management is more concerned with treating human beings as assets and developing them, retaining them, and because considering them as resources for the organization.
Okay. Ma'am, in this situation of COVID-19, Mr. Durga is asking that many companies have started laying off the employees. And
Right.
Is there any chance that at this point of time, new employees can be recruited by the companies?
Yes, yes, there is a chance. There is a chance. I've myself a witness to it because my son has got 3 placement offers after COVID-19. So just sharing, it's a personal experience which I'm sharing. I'm a witness to it in my own home that after the breakout of COVID-19, he has got 3 placement offers. So if you are competent, if you are capable, then there is no need to worry and focus upon what? Improving your skills. Again, I'm repeating, if you focus upon improving your skills, upon improving your performance, even if you have lost your job in the present organization due to maybe the cost reduction part of the organization or whatever like problems the organizations, they're, to be very practical, they are also facing a lot of problems. So it's not, I mean, a global truth. Organizations are hiring also. Companies like Capgemini, they have given increments. 70% of their employees after COVID-19, they have received increments, single digit increments, and they have spent 200 crores on developing the, competencies of the employees and medical, taking care of the medical part of the employees. So it's not like, of course, in news, we hear to all kinds of news, but if we look at the positive side also, there are companies who are doing it. Companies like e-commerce like Flipkart, they have organized, live tea breaks and live pasta sessions. They're organizing happiness management programs for the employees. So it's not that all companies will be doing it. One thing is focus upon your skill development. Second thing is be optimistic, and once you enhance your skills and competencies, there are still companies who would be hiring.
Yes, ma'am. So if you're talking about the skill sets here, ma'am, students have a question. Can we talk about the technical skill sets related to human resource management?
Yes, yes. If we talk about the technical skill set, yes. So the human resources or the candidates, they need to understand, first of all, the technical part of what is the significance of human resource management, how job analysis is done, how technically human resource planning is done, what are the various sources of recruitment, how do we actually recruit the right people, what are the selection procedures, what kind of tests and interviews are conducted. I mean, it's not just that you call a candidate and interview him and select him. If you really want to select the right people, then you need to be aware of the selection tests and processes, the kinds of interviews. These are companies are conducting stress interviews, the number of other interviews which we are going to talk about tomorrow also. What are going to be the methods of performance appraisal? I mean, saying that measuring the performance, it's a very simple term, but the students or the candidates need to be aware of what are the various methods of measuring the performance of the employee. What is competency mapping? What is performance management? What are the kinds of training and development programs which need to be conducted? What is HR audit? What are the labor laws? So number of things. These are all technical parts of HR which they need to be. That is the basic. I mean, the other skills are important, but for the HR field, you need to be aware of these things, and then you focus upon going beyond that role and being a strategic business partner also. Right?
Yes. Ma'am, I'll just take up one last question here.
Yes.
Students have a query that apart from PGDM or MBA, which we do, to have specialization in HR, are there any special courses which would go along with HR and management in order to develop the HR skills?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, like number of online courses are there. SHRM is having, the Society for Human Resource Management is having a number. If you go to their site, Society for Human Resource Management, you will find a number of online certification programs to enhance your skills. And also, like if we talk about the other courses there of HR, there is MHRM is there, Master of Human Resource Management. And online, a number of other courses are there, online certification programs are there, plus a number of, it's not about simply getting certificates, let me tell you again. It's not about, because companies will not look for only for certificates, they will talk about your skills. So again, I'm focusing upon enhancement of your skills and skill set. And for that also, there are a number of courses which you need to undergo and focus upon improving your excellence, rather than simply having a certificate in name and not being able to justify it. So it is like you have to broaden your view.
Okay, so I think, ma'am, we have taken a number of questions, so we can now wind up the session here. Thank you, Professor Soni, ma'am, for being with us. It was an excellent session. There are a lot of comments which are coming in the chat box, right? They are commenting on your session that it was one of the wonderful sessions they had. So thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Thank you, Soni, ma'am.
Thank you, Lavina, ma'am. Thank you, Taxila.
Tomorrow
And,
again, we'll be showing with the same session. We have the second part of mini MBA in HR tomorrow at 11:30 sharp.
Right. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.